once again, you know, Death Row gonna make sure he get his credit and make sure it's served. Definitely doing that.
Hammer, you feeling home?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, then she'll go back 10 years, so you know, it's another day.
Because whether people understand it or not, there is a certain amount of murder and death that comes along with the game. That's a part of doing business.
That goddamn MC Hammer, very serious about beef. Y'all laugh and y'all joke about Hammer. No. Anybody who come to the Bay Area, they was in full.
Hammer was raw dog. He did his thing. I actually used to like him. I mean, you know what I'm saying, on the real tip. People be talking, talking shit about Hammer, but run up on him.
Hammer beat your
I bet he'll beat your
monk ass. Run up on Hammer.
I know who Hammer was affiliated with, and he wouldn't have to pay to tell somebody else. If people would just do it. We from Oakland. Like he wouldn't even have to say it.
Oh gosh, you think you know MC Hammer? Think again. Sure, we've all laughed about those iconic parachute pants and jammed to You Can't Touch This, but let me tell you something that's going to blow your mind. Hammer's story is so much deeper than what you've seen on MTV. This isn't just about some flashy rapper from the 90s. We're talking about a man who had real power, real connections, and enough street cred to make even the biggest names in hip-hop shake in their boots. Listen up, because what most people don't realize is that Hammer wasn't just another music mogul. Growing up in Oakland, California during some of its toughest times, he wasn't just watching from the sidelines. He was right in the thick of it, building connections that would make him truly untouchable in ways that had nothing to do with his dance moves.
Yo, his entourage was something like I never seen in my life. Like, it was literally
100 people.
More than 100 people, probably.
That's actually how he.
But it was girls, guys, gangsters, dancers, everybody.
Yo, listen,
like
I grew up in the Bay. Hammer.
And honey, let me tell you, Hammer's dark side isn't some made-up urban legend. From the way he handled disrespect to how he managed the pressures of fame and power, this man wasn't just moonwalking his way to success. When I tell you his name still sends chills down certain people's spines in certain circles, I mean it. Now, I know what you're thinking. When you picture MC Hammer, you see those massive parachute pants and those killer 90s pop rap hits like You Can't Touch This and Too Legit to Quit. But let me spill some serious tea. Behind that mainstream facade, Hammer commanded respect that had hip-hop's heavyweights walking on eggshells. We're talking everyone. Suge, Tupac, Redman, Ice Cube, and get this, even Diddy was too scared to invite him to his parties. You won't believe how this whole conversation about Hammer's reputation got reignited. So, Anthony Duckett from Houston's Apollo Media shared this photo of Hammer with Suge Knight, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac, right? And he had the audacity to write, "I don't think I've ever seen anyone more out of place than Hammer was in this photo, LOL. Oh honey, he had no idea what he was talking about. The responses came flooding in faster than you can say Hammer time, with people bringing receipts about Hammer's Deep Street connections. And here's the gag. Turns out Hammer might have been the most dangerous person in that photo. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. Stanley Kirk Burrell, that's Hammer's real name, grew up in Oakland, California, and let me tell you, this wasn't some cushy suburban lifestyle. The 70s and 80s in Oakland, especially around East Oakland, where Hammer spent his youth, were absolutely no joke.
Hammer was born Stanley Kirk Burrell, one of 8 kids. He and his family lived in East Oakland, a poor, depressed neighborhood, aptly described as inner city.
It's very, very tough to live in that type of an environment and survive.
It's even tougher when your parents split up and your house burns down, both of which happened to Hammer when he was just 5 years old.
But even as a kid, Hammer had this incredible hustle that set him apart. You'll never guess where his first real gig was, the Oakland Coliseum. Little Stanley worked as a bat boy for the Oakland A's baseball team in the early 70s. That's where the legendary Reggie Jackson gave him the nickname Hammer, because he reminded him of baseball icon Hank the Hammer Aaron. But this wasn't just some regular job. It was where Hammer first learned the art of networking and got his first taste of life beyond those tough Oakland streets.
After completing his dance, he recognized me as the owner of the ball club and walked over to me and he said, "Mr. Finley, could you take me into the game as your guest?" And I said, "Yes, I'd be glad to." And I got pretty well acquainted with the Hammer.
Finley hired the young kid to be the A's bat boy during their powerhouse years in the early 70s. It was Reggie Jackson who gave young Stanley his nickname after Hammerin' Hank Aaron. The transformation into MC Hammer had begun.
But don't think for a second that Hammer was just riding on baseball connections. This man had entrepreneurship in his DNA. As a teenager, he was out there hustling, selling stray baseballs and souvenirs outside the Coliseum, stacking his cash and making a name for himself. Oakland in the 70s was this incredible melting pot of music, activism, and street life. And Hammer? He soaked it all up like a sponge. Now, Hammer's journey into music wasn't some straight shot to stardom. After high school, he joined the Navy, but even there, he couldn't stop entertaining. When he came back to Oakland, that's when he knew music was his destiny. And let me tell you about his hustle. This man was out there performing at local clubs, mixing rap with dance, and selling tapes from his car trunk like it was nobody's business. But here's where it gets really interesting. Two former Oakland A's players, Mike Davis and Dwayne Murphy, each gave Hammer a $20,000 loan. With that money, he launched his own record label, Bust It Productions. And talk about growth. That little startup exploded into Bustin' Records, and between the two, Hammer had over 100 people working for him.
He couldn't sing and he couldn't play an instrument, but boy, could he dance. His first album, Let's Get It Started, spawned 3 top 10 singles. The transformation into MC Hammer was now complete.
Honey, let me tell you about his marketing genius. Those signature dance moves, they made sure nobody could forget him. He rebranded himself as MC Hammer and dropped Feel My Power in 1986. That album moved 60,000 copies, all because of Hammer's relentless street marketing and local radio play. His tracks were absolutely dominating Bay Area dance clubs, and the buzz, it was deafening. Then came 1988, and this is where things get wild. Hammer lit up this club in Oakland with a performance so electric, this record executive who had no clue who he was just knew he was watching something special. But here's the thing, Hammer wasn't some desperate artist jumping at the first deal. He'd already turned down multiple offers, but when Capitol Records came through with that $1.75 million advance, baby, it was game time. Capitol got their money back quick too. Hammer's rise was absolutely legendary. Nobody could touch his stage presence or marketing skills. But here's the juicy part. Behind all those dance moves and catchy songs, Hammer was building a whole different kind of reputation. The kind that made even the toughest names in hip-hop watch their step. Let me tell you about when MC Hammer joined Death Row Records, and why that wasn't just some random career move. But first, let's talk about how Hammer handled his beefs, because this is where things get really intense.
So here it is. So Cactus album comes out. Right. And people on the West Coast loved it. Like, we just played one time, Gaffled Them Up, and MC8 says, I was in my car bumping the Cactus. Right. Album was huge on the West Coast. There was a verse on the album, on the song called The Cactus. Okay. That Pete Nice says, the cactus turned Hammer's mother out. Oh. Okay. Now, the line was a creative line because his album was called Turn His Mother Out. Yeah. And our album was called The Cactus. Right. So we were saying our album was doper, but we were saying it New York slick. Like, we had some slick talk coming out our mouth. Right. Mm-hmm. Hammer thought we were talking about us his mom. Oh. So we have this big event all planned at the Palace in LA. We're giving away a Jeep on K-Day, which was the first, hip-hop station to ever play 24-hour hip-hop. That's right. And I've never been to LA. So I'm taking a wife, I got Chantel with me, Pete got his girl with him, Rich got his girl with him. Like, we're excited. Like, we're going to LA. Like, this is a big movement. This is gonna be a movie. Right. We're in the air. And Carmen Ashurst Watson, who was the president of Def Jam at the time, picks up the phone and hears somebody say, is Third Base on their way to LA? And she goes, yeah. And the voice says, good, they're dead. This is Louis Burrell. And hangs up. Wow.
You want to know how serious Hammer was? Let's talk about MC Search from Third Base. The story goes that Hammer put a $50,000 hit out on the group, and all because of one lyric in their track, The Cactus. The line was, the cactus turned Hammer's mother out. Now they claimed it was just wordplay about their Cactus album and Hammer's song, Turn This Mother Out. But Hammer, he wasn't playing around. Fast forward to 2015, and Search revealed that Hammer's brother, Louis Burrell, threatened him during a flight to LA.
The day after the American Music Awards, And we walk into Greg Mack and we're all excited, and Greg Mack is shaking our hands and we're all happy dappy and, you know, excited to be on the morning show in LA and yada yada yada. Cracks the mic, turns it on, K-Day, you know, da 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 AM, you know, Third Base is here, Poverty Environment, release album party tomorrow at the Palace, and you know, we're giving away the Third Base Jeep. But we got a special person on the phone right now. 5 American Music Awards last night. He's up, he stayed up on our behalf. MC Hammer's on the phone. Hammer, how you doing? Hey, Greg, man, I'm great. Yo, it's great to talk to you, yada, 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 yada. He goes, yo, I heard you had something you wanted to say to Third Base. He's like, well, you know, I just want to tell him, you know, I don't think it's cool for somebody to, you know, diss their mom in a record. Like, you know, I don't think that's cool. Now, mind you, I never said that lyric. Pete said the lyric, right? So I look over to Pete. Your rhyme, dude. Say something. Nothing. So I'm like, all right. So I say, you know what? I said, man, if you feel like we dissed your matriarchal, that's okay, but you know what you did. You know what's going on in these streets. Why don't you man up and see me face to face so we can figure this out? Stop being a... He takes a call live. Greg Mack, who's this? Rolling 60 Crip N-word, we finna kill them. Boop! Out! Security grabs us. We run out the building. We get into the van. We start heading down the hill. There's 2 blue cars. And these dudes get out, Mac 11s, pointing at the vehicle. Pookie jumps out, throws his signs up. They get back in, they leave. And when we went to sound check, the entire Palace, which is across the street from the Capitol building, you know, is circled by blue vehicles. Because the Rolling 60 got like 50,000 members. So they can't get to everybody. And we can't not show. Like, it's not gonna happen. Big D is with Mike Conception the whole time. He's standing next to him. He goes to a recording session for We're All in the Same Gang. Hammer's there. Hammer and Mike have words. I don't know what was said. I heard it was something to the effect of Hammer asking Mike, why weren't they dead yet? And he says it in front of Big D. And they figure out that the only way to protect us to get into the Palace that night is we have to go in as security. So we're in Kevlar, I think it was ACS Security was the name of the security company. We got the jackets, we got the hats, we got dark glasses. I'm saying goodbye to my girl. She's crying at the Hyatt because they want to make sure we get in first and yada yada. So we're in a dark van and we see nothing but dudes just circling the venue. We get into the venue. If you had blue socks, they told you to leave the building. My biggest issue to this day is I can't get over it. Because I would love to get to a place in my life where I could just give him a pound and be like, it's in the past. Like, understand, and have an understanding, like, yo, it was just a witty rhyme. Your name of your album was Turn This Mother Out. Our album was The Cactus. The Cactus turned Hammer's mother out. It was a dope line. I'm good. I'm not good. I've gone through 25 years of therapy 3 days a week. I am not good. I wish I could be good. But when somebody tries to kill you over a rap lyric...
And in 2018, Search dropped even more tea about what happened after that threatening phone call. He admitted he's still not over it. The whole thing shook him so bad that he's been in therapy ever since. But wait, it gets even crazier. Remember Redman? In 1992, he made the massive mistake of coming for Hammer's family on his album, What? The Album. In a skit called Funky Uncles, he went, everybody yelling hammer time, hammer time. He ain't is, mama ain't is, daddy ain't is, ain't nobody is. Oh honey, he learned real quick that was not the move to make. By 1995, when Redman and Hammer finally crossed paths while filming the last episode of Yo MTV Raps, Hammer didn't let it slide. He walked straight up to Redman and gave him a warning that made it crystal clear those comments weren't forgotten. In an interview with Vlad TV, Redman admitted that Hammer wasn't just talking tough, his crew literally chased him out of Oakland. After that face-to-face with Hammer, Redman knew he had to leave that disrespect in the past.
I say, listen to my first album. When I did the skit, and I was like, you know what? That goddamn MC Hammer, him, Mama, and the whole nine. That came up to me on MTV Cribs on the last episode they had, where everybody out on, not MTV Cribs, sorry about that, I'm in the zone. On the last Dr. Dre and Ed Lover on MTV, when they had the last episode.
Yo MTV Raps.
Yeah, Yo MTV Raps. With the last episode they shot, when they had everybody rapping on it, MC Hammer was there. That approached me. He was like, Red, I'm gonna tell you something, you young, but I don't allow nobody talking about my mama. You understand me? I said, yes, sir. Because, yo, we was already in Oakland with EPMD, and we damn near had to bounce up out of there for that. Because they had back here, back here, back here. We had to get the out of here. They wasn't playing. We was almost boxed in. And I'm at a young age too. I'm like, yo, this is not playing. And he seen me at MTV Cribs. He shook my hand. He was like, you're a youngin'. I like what you do, but you just know I don't play nobody talking about my mama. And I was like, you right, man. Now, I wasn't cool. I wasn't no, I was like, all right, my nigga, you know what I mean? But I was like, yes, sir, MC Hammer. In other words, I got the message. I heard about you, and I seen your work, and with the 357 and all them mother could do. I seen that. I'm good, my brother, because I got to come to the West Coast and get money. I like it out there. I like the Bay Area. So, yeah, that. You right. I won't talk about your mama.
Just when you thought you'd heard it all, E40 and Fat Joe came through to confirm everything about Hammer's intimidating reputation. Fat Joe shared this absolutely wild story about running into Hammer at the Las Vegas airport that made one thing crystal clear. Hammer wasn't just some dancer who happened to be tough. No, he was a tough guy who just happened to love dancing.
You know, one time I bumped into Hammer. I only kicked it with him like one time. I bumped into him in the airport in Vegas, and I seen him, and he was like, yo, Joe, what's up, man? He said, yo, sit down, let's talk. I'm waiting for the plane. And he was like, yo, you know I'm not, you know, Hammer, you know, I get it popping for real. I was like, yo, Hammer, why are you telling? He said, nah, because I do the dance and all that. They don't think that. He said, yo, Joe, I let it go. Like, you know, it's Hammer time. I couldn't believe MC Hammer was talking like that.
Yeah, because, you know, you got to realize, he's from Oakland for one. He's from the town, you know what I'm saying? He highly respected and connected, you know what I mean? All the fixtures and factors know him, he know them. He rock with it heavy, you know what I'm saying? His brother gangster, Louis Ferrell, you feel me? He a gangster, you know what I'm saying? He's an intelligent gangster, you feel me?
That's
So,
what
you
I'm
know,
trying to tell you, like Hammer, you know, sometimes, you know, it's entertainment. So he tried to let me know. We sat down, he was like, yo, don't get it. You know, I'm a real gangster from Oakland. I was like, yo, Hammer, you ain't got to do this to me.
nah,
Like,
he's far from a sucker.
yeah,
you
that's
know.
what I'm saying.
And Hammer physically fit. I think Hammer put hands on for him. He about 4 or 5 years older than me, probably more. You know, Hammer physically fit, bro. He might put blenders on him up.
Now, let's talk about Hammer and Tupac because this relationship, it's fascinating. At first, Tupac saw Hammer like everyone else did, just another mainstream artist who sold out for commercial success. But honey, that perception changed real quick. When Hammer signed with Death Row Records in 1995, right when Tupac was riding high on All Eyes on Me, it shocked everybody. But here's the thing, this wasn't just about music, it was a power move that showed everyone exactly where Hammer stood in the hip-hop community. Once Tupac started spending time with Hammer in the studio, he realized this wasn't just some pop star. Hammer's street credibility was the real deal. Their relationship grew into something nobody expected, with Tupac gaining serious respect for how Hammer handled himself in both business and on the streets.
Next time that I saw Pac, the stories earlier are the stories before Death Row. The Pac I was with was his last 8 months at Death Row. I was with him every day, even the last day.
the last night. Even the 2 days before that, we were in New York. But you ain't never heard me talk about no stories on nobody's platform. You ain't heard me go to none of these hip hop 50, and just for the record, I got invited to every one. But I really don't have the patience for the fakeness. I'm really, you know what I'm saying? I'm really 60 years old. So I can't really, I can't get with the fakeness of it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can do it with a young cat, but I can't come around old cats and still be pretending. What you want me to call you? Six shooter, hey, six shooter. Man, come on, man. Come on, man. Ain't none of your bodies turned up.
But what made people truly fear Hammer? It wasn't just his connections or his reputation. It was how he commanded respect without having to act like Suge Knight or other industry power players. Hammer had this incredible mix of street smarts, business skills, and genuine charisma that meant he didn't need to flex like today's rappers. He didn't have to shout about his power, everyone just knew. So the next time someone tries to dismiss MC Hammer as just some washed-up rapper from the 90s who made "You Can't Touch This," you tell them this: even the biggest, baddest names in hip-hop knew better than to test him, because while everyone was focused on those parachute pants and dance moves, Hammer was building an empire of respect that made him truly untouchable, and not just because of the song. The real MC Hammer wasn't just about catchy tunes and flashy moves. He was a force to be reckoned with, a street-smart businessman who commanded respect through actions, not words. In the end, those who knew, and those who didn't, well, they learned the hard way not to underestimate the man behind the hammer pants. Now that's the real story of MC Hammer, one that most people never knew, but those in the industry will never forget. Can you believe all this tea about someone we thought we knew everything about? Makes you wonder what other secrets are hiding behind those iconic 90s music videos, doesn't it? Music videos, doesn't